Last time on New Hope, after the Goten and Cell arc came to a close, we jump forward to the future timeline where a version of Cell was still causing chaos. As Gohan was wished back by Bulma, who had at long last found the hidden location of New Namek, it turns out he had been training in Otherworld nearly this entire time, meaning even Cell was no match for him at this point, who did little to strain or train his body. After wishing back all of Earth's heroes with the exception of Goku and Piccolo, and one not-so-hero, Vegeta had to ask, since he himself was not granted the privilege, what went on with the gang in Otherworld? So after telling how many of the villains from the past were causing problems, we rejoin our story in progress. In the ethereal vastness of Otherworld, we find ourselves in East Quadrant. Turles finds himself perched atop a cliff, his gaze fixed intently on the skirmish unfolding beneath him. A scene of not chaos, but organized decimation of his own men. A warrior previously unknown to him who danced with such power and resilience that it held his unwavering attention. The intensity of combat was felt even from his elevated vantage point. He watched as a squad, known for their ruthlessness and battle prowess, coordinated their attacks with a level of desperation rarely seen in their ranks. Each member of his team a seasoned fighter, though the way they fight now speaks volumes of the strength of their opponent. And who would have guessed?
You're gonna pay, Vermin!
Vermin, you say?
Oh!
Yamcha seeming to take out the Crusher Corps. Only its leader remains, who confidently calls out that he shouldn't think that his fight with him will be so easy. He isn't like these lowly fighters. But that's what the Wolf Bandit's been hearing all day, yet not even one of them has put up the slightest challenge. It's worth noting that this version of Turles is a little different than the one we know. This iteration is the result of a stealth union between Tenva, an elite female warrior, and Ido, a low-ranking squad sergeant. Specifically, Ido was the sergeant of Tenva's younger brother, the warrior known as Bardock. After the shared moment of passion, Tenva and Ido never saw each other again. As an elite warrior, it was inconceivable for Tenva to have a child, let alone with a low-ranking warrior. She would become the laughingstock of her squad. Because of this, she decided to go missing during a mission to give birth in secret. As Yamcha is able to easily finesse the doppelganger, he has to cockily ask if he's ever heard of a Saiyan called Kakarot. He's a friend. They're actually the spitting image of each other. Does it ring a bell? But Turles furiously barks at the Earthling to shut up. He's gonna regret not taking him seriously. Though he chortles that if he actually bothered to take this seriously, the fight would be over in a second. He doesn't think Turles knows where he stands. This newfound confidence and strength in Yamcha indicates that he's reached a level that the one we're familiar with hasn't even dreamed of.
What?
Tenva was then able to anonymously hand possession of her newborn child to the Saiyan army. With him bore a single piece of paper bearing the inscription Turles. She then reincorporated her place in her elite squad before dying in battle a couple years later, the utterance of her only son's name being her final words. As Saiyan tradition dictates for every newborn with low potential, Turles was sent to conquer a distant planet to prove his worth before being allowed to join the Saiyan army. He succeeded in his mission, and instead officially joined Frieza's ranks at the age of 14. Before his death, he is one of the few surviving Saiyans. Seeing his more or less plaything is still breathing, our favorite human spouts. You're right, Turles. He's much more resilient than he thought, but that still won't be enough against him. The gap between their power is more than just a tough chin can handle. The rogue coughs up blood and dirt as he curses to know how an Earthling could possess such power, and all of his universal exploits and data obtained. This should have been like stepping on a bug. Landing. Yamcha tells him that he's a brave warrior. He'll at least give him that. But now it's time to go back to Hell. Who remains stagnant in his resolve, stuttering that if he knows a Saiyan personally, Kakarot as he said, and he should know better than anyone not to underestimate them. Turles explains that during his fight against Slug, before he died, something woke up inside of him. Something primal and intangible, a power he's never felt before. A burning rage. Turles served 4 years in an assault squad which he deserted by the age of 18. He had realized that he was nothing more than a vulgar slave at the mercy of Frieza and Cold. He refused such a fate and found his freedom in the Black Galaxy, a hostile place far from Frieza's empire. Going on to create his own squad of mercenaries, he soon found himself up against the reign of the aging Lord Slug. It didn't take long after that for him to realize he was no match against the Namekian. This led him again to be forced into servitude until the day he could overthrow him. Alas, even after consuming several fruits from the Tree of Might, he was unable to claim victory and perished as a result, though not before assuring the demise of Slug as well. Both fell in an epic battle that left no victor. But he turned into a Super Saiyan. This wasn't exactly in the game plan. Even appearing to surprise Turles. The villain screeches out in laughter. Of course! The legend is true! He's become a Super Saiyan! Of course, Yamcha pities himself that it had to be him that went up against a Super Saiyan. Even his foe knows that now there's nothing that can stop him. Leaving our hero wondering what it is he can do. When King Kai chimes in, he pesters his student. Super Saiyan? Is that really the limit you impose on yourself, Yamcha? Picking up, he apologizes, but even at his own full power, Turles' remains higher. He wasn't expecting his opponent to get a 50 times power up in the middle of a fight. But the deity argues that the difference between the pair is not significant enough to be the only deciding factor in this battle. Experience will be the key. Isn't he the one that once told him that he regretted not being able to show his true potential as a warrior while he was still alive? Well, this is his chance. Well, these words seem to strike a chord. Turles cackles that this loser is so scared he started talking to himself. He's gonna make him pay for that smug attitude. Meanwhile, in the North Quadrant, looks like the brunt of Slug's demon clan has been able to corner Chiaotzu. Ziyun giggles that this is going to be an easy fight.
Take that, small fry!
It's over for you! One down. Make it two.
I will kill you!
I'm already dead.
You won't get away from us!
And three down. Stop!
Using his magic, something we haven't seen work since the original Dragon Ball. Chiaotzu's able to freeze Angela in place. He cries out what's happening to him. He can't move. The little guy grunts out to the henchman that he's not very strong, so he can stop him with a single arm.
And that's four.
With Chiaotzu blasting away the Demon Clan and showing off probably the most impressive Donan Paw of all time, looks like he's managed to secure the North Quadrant. Well, almost. Their leader is a lot stronger than the other goons. Tien gets the pleasure of taking on Lord Slug, and after that elbow, the latter's ready for some payback.
Where'd he go?
As the battle turns tides, evil Namekian finds himself crawling in the dirt with a force that sent shockwaves rippling through the air. Dust and debris forms a cloud around him as he struggles to rise back to his feet. His face distorted with equal rage and disbelief as he bellows at his opponent, his voice echoing with fury.
How dare you, you puny insect! How dare you humiliate me!
His words lacking his usual sinister poise, though filled with the wrath of being so unaccustomed to such defiance.
I am the subjugator of stars, the great Lord Slug!
Whether his screams are to remind his opponent or himself remains unanswered. With Turles attaining the Super Saiyan transformation, will Slug also be able to pull something out of his hat to stand a chance against Tien? The fate of good and evil entwined in a chaotic ballad of power is a patchwork of individual struggles and skirmishes, each fight a story in itself.